Welcome to the show. It is a silent night.
It is a silent night. It's actually very noisy because it's raining outside and we're doing this under my porch. So,
And earlier in the day than usual, so maybe more car traffic going by.
yeah, but in the past, we've had some loud noises that I thought would absolutely be taking.
Yeah.
And I hear that a lot on podcasts where they're like, oh, I'm so sorry about my dog.
Yeah, that dog's driving us crazy. You can't hear it.
Yeah,
You're
yeah,
like,
yeah.
yeah, right. There's no dog.
Or, and I don't,
This guy just wants
it's
to
very
act like he owns a dog.
frustrating to me because I'm tried to be a musician,
Right.
but my ear is so not sensitive to things like pitch and tonality and things like that.
Oh, right.
And so like I'll be listening to podcasts and like you can hear my voice is just very terrible today because I'm dealing with a cold. And I'm like, dude, I don't have that fine-tuned ear whatsoever.
So you can't tell when somebody's sick?
I mean, sometimes if it's like a lot over podcast, but in real life, I could probably tell.
Wow.
But you can always you pick
I
it up.
don't know. I guess that's interesting. I can definitely tell at least some of the time. I don't know if it's all of the times.
Yeah, it's really frustrating because like with that, singing. I'm a terrible singer because
That's not true. I love your voice.
Well, I appreciate
your singing voice is. Sometimes I have a recording of it on my phone
Why?
because I need something beautiful and graceful like that to fall asleep to at night.
Oh, that makes sense. But like I'll be out of tonality a lot. Like it'll be nasally or something, and I just can't hear it. Or my guitar will be out of tune and I can't hear it. So I really have to go off of tuners and stuff before I play.
Well, dude, yeah. I mean, you're never going to be as good as a tuner. Those things are crazy.
Dude, it's like they're designed for that.
Yeah. So if you guys are wondering why you're only hearing me and Steve-O discuss these things that might not matter to anybody else,
Dan's mic blew out, so he's just sitting
he's
here
sitting here
enjoying-
quietly. And Luke, he's here too somewhere.
He's
probably.
luking it up.
No, it's a 2-man pod tonight because our original pod for the week got deleted because our equipment's a little bit on the fritz.
And by equipment, he means my house because
Oh, is that
I
what it
tried
was?
to plug it in back to that outlet that it was originally plugged into. The outlet's just not working now.
Okay, so now we're on battery.
No,
power?
I plugged it through an extension cord through my front door into a different outlet. So
Oh, I gotcha.
it's possible that we lose it again. We really should start experimenting with batteries just to avoid that. But I don't know how long batteries will last.
Right, yeah. I was listening to a podcast called No Dumb Questions, and
Friend of the show.
friend of show. And they had a mic malfunction on their most recent podcast, and you could tell the audio switched to their backup audio. And I was like, "Dag, they've got backup audio.
Dude, how helpful is that?
They must be billionaires. They have 2 sets of audio recording equipment."
Unbelievable.
But we're well on our way because I heard that we had like record number downloads on our podcast.
And
this last week.
so guys, that just all comes back to you. We really appreciate your support. We appreciate all the messages, all the well wishes. I know everyone heard Dan sniffle the last time. Apparently,
Oh, really?
Getting a lot of
Yeah.
hey, I hope you feel better. Sorry, I saw a bird and got distracted.
Yeah. Well, they're distracting.
The hazard of being outside, you know.
Yeah. And also, I said it on the pod that got deleted, but I want to make sure that I reiterate how much we appreciate everybody coming out to our event last week. It means a lot to us. We love seeing the fans, hanging out with the fans, and we will always keep you in the loop for future events.
And I said it at the night, but I will say it again. I cannot believe how flexible Luke is.
Oh my goodness, so flexible.
It's incredible.
It's actually kind of confusing because you don't think a human can be that flexible.
Yeah. And I'll just say IYKYK, you know.
I know. Yeah.
Dude, you know what's funny? Have you seen that? Someone write IYKYK?
No, that's the first time I've ever heard that.
Do you know what it is?
IYKYK.
Yeah. It's if you know, you know.
Oh my goodness, dude!
But
That
it's-
is the stupidest.
So
thing I've ever heard.
I've seen that on like social media and stuff a lot. And for a while, I really thought that it was just like, ick. I was like, all right.
Yeah, I remember our friend Jason. He used to say I think it was Jason. Jason, I apologize if this wasn't you, but I think when they were first starting to do those like acronym things, he thought LOL was just LOL.
When they first started doing those acronym things.
That is an acronym, right?
Dude, you've known Jason for a very long time, then.
I've known him since 1998.
Wow. So
Yes.
your family moved to that county, Rappahannock, and they started a church?
No, we had the church in Fairfax for a few years before we moved it out to actually Jason's house. And
So it's the same church.
No, we changed the name of it, and so what had happened with the Fairfax base, it kind of the way I remember it as a kid, it sort of organically kind of dissolved, like where our leaders sort of scattered across the country, like all of our elders that were in the church and all of the pastors. We had like 3 or 4 like teaching pastors at the church. They all moved different areas. Like one of them's in Pennsylvania now, and my dad and my uncle are like the only 2 that came out this way. And then, so it was interesting. Like it wasn't like the church, we had to shut down the church necessarily. It just sort of it felt organic the way it dissolved. But I also was a kid, so I might not have been
privy to a lot of the politics and everything with it.
But it seemed like a pretty smooth transition to moving it out here. And we had a lot of people came. A lot of people came from the old church to the new church, but it's an hour drive.
Yeah.
We did it for a few years going in, and so no hate to anybody who didn't want to come
Sure.
the other way, because that was a lot. It was a big commitment.
So did you, because you started doing church so our buddy Jason,
Right.
for all of our Unsaudis, his parents have it's in the middle of the country, like not even a busy road.
Oh yeah.
But then there's just this like, it's the old post office / convenient country store thing. Yeah. And so was that a current store? Like how did you meet them?
I met them through Little League Baseball.
Okay.
Yeah. Dude, this is like the first time I've ever felt like I've actually been interviewed. I feel like you're just interviewing me.
Dude, this is only on this random specific topic.
Yeah. I met them through Little League Baseball, and then
Did you Big League Chew or Sunflower Seed?
Sunflower Seeds.
Okay.
Big League Chew was it looked bad.
You have no appearance of evil?
Yeah, have no appearance of evil. Wasn't allowed to look like I was chewing tobacco.
Okay.
But anyway, yeah, and also Sunflower Seeds, dude. It's like the best.
So you're telling me you never had candy cigarettes?
No, I went straight to real cigarettes. And also, I don't think that they taste that good when you eat them, quite honestly. Like, I don't think tobacco tastes that good when you... I tried it in salads. I've tried it in all sorts of things. It is not that delicious.
I'll give you some recipes.
The paper's not good either.
It's pretty good if you do it right. You just got to watch the filters.
Right.
But if you give that like a good, what
Glaze?
you call it? No, like a olive oil to soak it in.
Oh, right.
It's pretty good.
Right.
Okay, well, I think we've bantered long enough. It's everyone's favorite time.
Yeah. Nailed it.
How was your week?
It was good. It was good. You've heard this already once from me. But that once again got deleted. Yeah. Good. It's a good week. Busy. Weirdly busy, considering I haven't worked for money all week. I've just been working at my house and doing that kind of thing.
Is that a planned like holiday, or are you guys hurting for work?
No, so I was supposed to be in the Outer Banks this week working for a customer of ours, but the workload was light enough that I had the option to not go. And so my brother, who I work with, he just took the whole work. He just did the whole thing by himself.
Now, are you salary, or will you just not get paid for this week, or how's that work?
Oh, dude, when you make as much as I do, you typically just don't worry about how you get paid.
It's one of those, like, you pay me, I'll pay you, whoever
Right.
takes the check.
You end up just checking your bank account, and you're like, whoa, I've got $77 billion.
That's a number.
No, I'm saying that's what it would be like.
Hang on.
Yeah, wait a minute. How did I even get this money?
Oh, yeah, I forgot. It's being a handyman.
Hey, man, there is a billionaire painter somewhere.
Is there?
I heard of one out of Texas, like and this was a long time ago that I heard about. One guy had made it like a painting company worth $1 billion or something like that.
Was his name Benjamin Moore?
Sherman Williams. Yeah,
Dude, I thought it.
I can't
anyway,
tell you how many people think it's Sherman Williams.
I thought it was that for a long time.
It drives me.
There's
crazy.
a paint company here. I don't know if it's across the country or if it's just a local thing, but it's Sherwin Williams.
Yeah.
And everyone calls it Sherman Williams.
It's not local. I've seen
So
it.
people should know.
Yeah, they should. You should. Yeah.
Except
Yeah.
our Australian listeners probably aren't familiar.
I don't even know. Maybe they are though.
Write in. Let us
There-
know
look.
if you have Sherwin Williams.
Cover the earth.
That's bizarre that you are wearing a Sherwin Williams shirt right
I'm
now.
wearing a Sherman Williams shirt
How
right now.
organic did we get there?
I'll wear my Benjamin Moore one next week.
Okay.
I'm I'm not loyal to either brand. I just wear free shirts.
Do you work with Benjamin Moore as well?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
I
okay.
mean, yeah, but they're so Sherman Williams is interesting. Like you have a. Does anybody care?
No one cares.
Okay, well, I'm telling it anyway because this is the Unsought Opinions podcast.
That's the point of the whole deal.
So get ready. Yeah, so like we can get discounts applied at any Sherman Williams store for our products that we buy. Like anywhere we go, they'll have our account information on record. Benjamin Moore is more like individual, like franchisee type deals,
Okay.
where like for a while our local guy in Warrenton was Mr. Timberlake. I think he's retired now. He was our Benjamin Moore guy, and we had discounts through him, but that doesn't translate to the guy down here in Culpeper.
So it's like Ace Hardware, where they're all franchisees or whatever.
Yeah, I guess so. So, yeah, it's a little bit more confusing to work with Benjamin Moore, and I would say 90% of the time we're working with Sherman Williams. Also, their prices are way more reasonable, especially after discounts.
Yeah, but that's not as reasonable as Lowe's. So,
No, that's true, but I will tell you that sometimes people will rely on that old Valspar,
oh yeah.
and it is basically a hot pile of garbage. Sometimes.
Now, I understand what you're saying when you say that there are grades of paint,
Right.
but how long would you say is the average lifespan of paint on walls?
Oh, dude, I've seen paint that's like 40 years old. Still looks good.
Okay.
The average, though,
I feel like people are repainting their house once a decade,
yeah, dude.
10 years.
Yeah, I mean, it's
If you're moving a lot more than that,
yeah, you kind of have to be a crazy person to buy a house from somebody and not repaint the entire thing. Did you not do that?
I did that.
Oh yeah, exactly. You should do that.
But anyway, and so in my experience, people move every 3 years or so. That's like the
is that
average lifespan of a house or something.
right? Dude, that's probably
And so,
about right.
you could get just cheap paint at Lowe's and have it last 3 years. Not to outsource you.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. And we will do that. Like, people have us get paint from
If
Lowe's.
you can work with people and you're like, this is the good stuff, but if you're on a budget, we can help you, hook you up with.
And we always we apply our discounts to our customers. So like if we'll just have them reimburse us for what we pay for it. It's a little perk for using us as their guys or whatever.
Mm.
So we can get higher quality paints for a lot closer to like
The same
Lowe's prices.
Yeah, you've given me pretty good discounts when we were painting our last house.
tight, dude. I'm glad that worked out.
Now we've just switched everything to agreeable gray, and that's just
Yeah, dude.
Our life.
That color's everywhere right now.
it's everywhere because it agrees with everything. You like wood in your house? It agrees with it. You like steel? Sure, agreeable gray will agree with that.
Yeah, I want the job of naming those paint colors because some of them are hilarious.
What's the silliest paint you've ever heard?
Dover white.
What are we in Delaware?
Yeah, what? I mean, come on.
Sheesh,
So anyway, so how was your week?
dude. I went flying.
Wait, can we just point out how good our podcast is? That you asked me how my week was, and we just went on like a 10-minute tangent on paint.
Dude, that's how good we are with just two of us. I think
We just flow, bro.
4 is
Imagine,
just far
but if
too
we
many.
had four though, imagine how long we would have talked about that. Probably about 35 minutes.
No, dude, we would have said one thing about paint. Someone would have said something dumb, and then we would have been awkward silence.
Yeah.
Awkward silence. I'm just kidding. We miss you guys. We can't wait to have you back.
Yeah, it's really sounded like that, Steve. That's what it really sounded like.
That's
to
okay.
me.
They don't listen to the pod.
Yeah, they
anyway.
don't listen.
My week was good. I went flying yesterday, and for the first time I did 4 takeoff and landings without issue, and I did like a different kind of takeoffs. So a little
A
behind
different
the
kind of takeoff.
behind the curtain, you have to. There's different kinds of takeoff and landings that you have to do. So you have your standard, then you have short field, and then soft field. So your standard is just on the runway, you just take off.
What are the? Yeah, okay.
And then soft field is like if you're landing in grass.
Oh.
And then short field is if the runway is pretty short. Like Culpeper is like half a mile long runway or a mile long runway. Something.
It's really long.
Something super
If it's
long.
only a half mile, that's crazy.
It might be. I think it's
feels like
5,000
a mile.
feet.
Yeah,
I want to
okay.
say 5,000.
Yeah.
So you can like take off and land in the same breath on that. But for instance, like Gordonsville is less than half of that. It's like it's like 2,400 square feet or 2,400 feet or something. Something super small. But anyway, so because of that, when you fly, you have your speeds that like your minimum takeoff speed, your best climb rate, quickest climb rate, different things like that. And so
How fast do you have to climb before you start going backwards?
90 degrees.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Shoot, dude.
Yeah. Yeah. Luckily, if you hit 90, you're probably your flight's going to be pretty quick.
Okay.
So you don't have to worry about backtracking too much.
And you won't be late for anything if it's going to be a quick flight.
Right. I don't know why people don't do it more.
Honestly, yeah.
I don't know you're going to get very far.
Dude, it's like those paper airplanes. You like throw them, they go up, and there's like go every which
Seesaw
way.
back down. So your soft field, because you're landing on like dirt or grass or something, you have to like keep the propeller going even through the landing. So like typically
So
you
you don't dig into the
pull
ground,
the
maybe?
you pull the power out on a normal landing, so you just kind of float down and land. But you want the propeller to continue to move so that it's creating lift in the wings, so that you land as light as you can.
Whoa.
And then when you hit the runway, you don't use brakes. You just have to use your rudder to kind of like steer yourself off of the runway, so that you're not digging in. Because if you hit too hard, you're destroying your plane.
You're going to crash and die.
Yeah,
probably.
and then the short field is like, as soon as you land, you throw your flaps up and slam on the brakes to get as much like traction down on the plane as you can, so that you can brake as quickly as you can. So I did 4 takeoff and landings, and the wind was like perfect, like 8 miles an hour coming straight down the runway.
Were you landing on grass?
No. I was just practicing the maneuvers on an asphalt
Okay.
runway. And all 4 of them, dude. It was like the first time ever.
Just greaser.
It greased
greaser
him.
after greaser.
It was great.
Nice.
Yeah. So
Well, that's great, dude. I'm really happy to hear that you're back on the encouraged side of the saddle.
yeah, I wasn't for a while.
Right.
Probably 2 or 3 weeks ago, I was like, I think I'm done. I'm just done.
Yeah.
And then my regular plane got back up and running, and I took it out solo yesterday, and I feel good. I might be
Sweet.
flying tomorrow. I have family in town, so we might be visiting them, so I might not be able to, but I have a standing appointment to go take it up. So we'll see.
Tight. That's really good.
Yeah.
What else is going on?
You know, we were talking before the pod started, and I kind of want to get into this because I'm excited about it because it's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
But about deadly animals, and I think we both know the deadliest animal, and a lot of our viewers probably know as well. But
Yeah.
if you don't,
The box jellyfish, everybody knows.
buckle up. Yeah, because they are frequently around
Yeah,
humans.
they're frequently killing people.
I have a list of the top 10 animals.
Okay, and like he said, we both know that the number one. Well,
We'll get to the number 1.
okay, we're gonna start at 10.
Yeah.
Okay, what is number 10? And I'm gonna
So-
I want to guess how many people they kill per year.
Okay, so you don't want to guess what animal, because you could jump the
Well, I
list
mean,
and
there's
stuff.
so many animals.
Yeah,
If we're going
yeah,
with 10,
okay.
But I mean, it would be
No.
kind of fun, but it would take.
It would take forever. Number 10 is a lion. Did you know that a lion was one of the top? I figured they're just cool.
What? They
But-
just snatching people on safari, or are they?
How
getting,
many
like, out-
people
like,
are they killing a year?
74.
200.
Dude, I was actually way closer than I thought.
Dude, 200 people are getting killed. So there are 200 families that have to say, a lion got my brother. A lion got my husband or my wife.
Or my 3-month-old.
No wonder people want to kill all the lions, dude.
Wow.
Crazy.
Yeah, I mean, kind of true. Yeah.
This one, I thought it was higher up on the list, but it's a hippo.
Oh yeah, they kill more people than lions. 270.
500 people a year.
What?
Yeah. 10 people a week
The body count is climbing quickly. I mean,
Getting-
good grief.
killed by a hippo. 10 people a week.
And where are those? They're in Africa.
Africa, yeah.
Only in Africa?
Yeah.
So they're not,
I say that. They
You would
could
think
be
with those-
somewhere in like Indonesia and stuff, but I'm pretty sure it's just Africa.
man, you're talking about like Asian numbers. If you're killing 500, I would imagine like high population areas those things would be in.
Mm. Yeah. I mean, people got to go down to the rivers to get their water. And they
Dag, dude, that
hippos
is
don't like that.
wild.
We had a buddy that was swimming in a lake in Africa at sunset.
Was it hippos that they were worried about? Or
No, it
was
was
crocs?
crocodiles.
Yeah, dude. Is that the next one?
No, number 8 is elephants.
Elefante. 500. I'm guessing. I think it's only like 520.
600.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you know what's crazy? I was talking to a buddy of mine who's a taxidermist. So he has a bias in this, but how all the no poaching laws and everything of these elephants, the elephants come in and just destroy these farmers' crops. And so the farmers rely on these elephant safaris to go out and like
Right.
for them to take it out. And because they like banned a lot of them, the farmers just started poisoning the elephants because they were
Right.
doing it. So at least
Are they credited as being poachers when they poison elephants?
I would assume so.
That's wild.
Yeah. So it's crazy because before these farmers are getting tens of thousands of dollars each elephant. The money's going directly to them, but then they outlaw it, and now these farmers are up a creek. Anyway, not to take one side or another. It was just a taxidermist that I was talking to about it. Number 7, crocodiles.
So they did make the list.
They did.
That I guess that makes
I didn't
sense.
realize crocodiles were more dangerous than hippos. Hippos surprised me, but like I always thought that they were not on the list, and then I found out they were on the list, and I thought they were like number 3, but I'm wrong. They're number
Okay,
8,
so-
7, or 9.
You said giraffe? What's this one?
Crocodiles.
Crocodile. I think there's actually quite a jump on this one. I think it's like 775 people.
That's unbelievable.
What?
It's 1,000.
Oh.
I wanted to just let you like have you guess a random number, and be like, "There's no way you
There's
saw this."
No way, yeah. 1,000 people a year, dude. That is nuts.
Yeah. After we hit top 5, I want you to start guessing the animals.
Okay.
All right, number 6, scorpions.
No way.
Dude.
Scorpions?
Yeah.
Is it scorpion or scorpion?
It's not scorpion.
What is it?
Scorpion.
That's what I said. And then you said it's not that.
You said scorpions.
No, that's what I said the first time. I
Right.
said, is it scorpion?
It's
Or
not
is it
scorpion.
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 So it is scorpion.
Yes.
That is the most ridiculous name of a creature you could ever have.
Dude, it's the most ridiculous creature you could ever have.
Yeah, dude, I saw one. once.
Have you ever had one of those scorpion lollipops?
Ew, no, what?
Dude, so my dad's into like all these weird candies and everything. He's gotten like mealworms in lollipops and given them to the grandkids. When we were in Florida, he got all the grandkids these lollipops with scorpions in them.
Are there scorpions in Florida?
I think so. Maybe not, but I don't know.
I've never seen one in Florida.
Out in the Everglades. Anyway, so the kids ate them.
Everything's in the Everglades.
Everything's in the Everglades, dude.
That's crazy. You shouldn't eat scorpions.
How many scorpions?
Or how many do they kill?
Dude.
We go from 1,000 with Crocs to 1,200.
3,300 people died.
No,
Dude.
you're kidding me.
10
A
people
year?
a day.
A year.
Yeah.
That is mind blowing.
It makes I think though this is a little bit different. So like lions and hippos are isolated to just
Right.
this Serengeti or whatever.
Yes. Now
Scorpions
we're
are
the creatures that are
worldwide.
more wider range.
Right.
Wow. Okay.
All right.
That's interesting.
We're in the top 5.
Okay, so number
You're never going to get this one.
So it's something these are all going to be wide range creatures.
Yeah, I
Okay,
would give you $1 million if you
what
could
is
get
it? What is it?
Assassin bug.
Oh, I've never even heard of that.
That's what I mean.
But it sounds deadly.
They give you Chagas disease.
Once again,
Yeah.
it's a word I've never heard before.
Maybe in India, maybe in like one of the Asian countries like India or China. I don't know.
Maybe. Yeah, I mean, so it's killing
Central and South
it's
America.
killing 3,500 people a year.
Nope. 10,000 people a year.
Oh my goodness, we are making some massive leaps.
It's
in
it's
depth.
growing quick. It will keep getting bigger. All right, it's a terrible disease that attacks the heart, digestive system, and nervous system. The disease can be transmitted from mother to baby through the placenta. That's horrible.
A snake is going to have to make this list.
Okay, number 4.
This is where the snake is.
It's not the snake.
Ah, this isn't the snake.
No. Now it's starting to get more into diseases, I think.
Right, like the number one creature causing malaria or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I don't know. I think it's a bad idea to have me try to guess.
It's dogs.
Not my dog.
Via rabies. They kill 59,000 people a year.
Dude, that'd be so crazy to die from your dog.
That would be the worst.
That'd be crazy.
Have you ever watched Cujo?
No. What's that?
You don't know what Cujo is?
No,
I don't believe you.
I've never heard that word.
It's a Steve.
This is a podcast full of words I've never heard before.
It's a Stephen King book with the.
I've heard of him.
Oh my gosh! All right, dog gets rabies and traps this woman in her car. There's a movie in the 80s.
Yeah.
It's super famous.
Okay.
Anytime there's a vicious dog, they call it Cujo.
Right.
You've never.
No.
I don't know if you're joking with me or not.
Okay.
All right. Number
Actually,
3.
you know what? There was a kid in my. No, never mind.
What's number 3?
This is the snake. Yeah. Okay. This is the black mamba.
No, it's just snakes in general.
Just snakes in
That's
general.
kinda
That
cheap.
is such
That's
a
like saying-
cop out. Come on,
Yeah.
or top 10. You gotta give me the animal, the creature.
How many people die a year from snakes?
So wait, how many die from that crazy disease?
What crazy disease?
The last one, the assassin bug.
The last one was rabies with dogs.
Oh, dogs. How many was that?
Assassin bug, Chagas disease is 10,000. Dogs are 59,000.
59,000. 59,000
That's so many.
a year die from dogs.
That's 1,000 people a week.
Wow.
I like doing this math.
Yeah, I'm glad you're doing the math. Okay, so the next one is snakes, and we're gonna say 80,000 people.
138,000
Dude,
people.
what are these steps? These are massive leaps in increase.
Yeah, dude, that's like 500 people a day. Wow. Actually, no, it's more than that.
That's a wild thing. Okay.
Snakes are brutal. All right, then the number 2's sheep.
Spiders.
No. Humans. Homicides only. 400,000 a year.
Okay, yeah, humans shouldn't be on this list. I don't know why, but they just shouldn't be.
So my daughter and I go back and forth on this a lot. She says humans are not animals, and I say humans absolutely are animals. What do you think?
I think we're set apart from animals. I think that we have souls, which means that we aren't. I don't know. I think that that's part of the distinction between humans and animals. And I have a feeling this is just about to turn very philosophical, and we're getting away from what we.
Yeah, you're right.
From the mission we were trying to.
I
accomplish.
also think that we are the only creatures to have souls, but I think that we're still animals.
Okay. Well,
It's
that's
The-
silly.
The definition of an animal is a moving organism that falls in one of the 5 kingdoms, and we're mammals.
Okay.
So anyway, number 1 is of course phytoplankton.
Killing whales since 1991.
Dude, do you know that killer whales have never killed someone in the wild?
I've heard that. And
How
I
cool
think
is
that's
that?
awesome. And they've actually saved people, right?
Probably.
I think they have.
I saw a documentary about a little boy who falls into an aquarium tank, and the killer whale came up and saved him. And then he played the harmonica. Speaking of our instrument today, he would play the harmonica for this whale, and the whale would always come back to him.
Oh, dude, for some reason I thought your harmonica said Harley Davidson for a second.
It's a Harley harmonica.
I was like, dude, I need that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's wild. So the number 1 is mosquitoes, and they kill howeth many?
You gonna guess?
I'm guessing 800,000 a year.
725,000 a year.
Dude, that might have been my closest guess,
That's-
considering.
Percentage-wise, yeah,
Percentage-wise,
that
yeah.
was pretty close.
Wow, that is so many people. I know that they've killed more people in like the history of forever than like everything else combined.
Yeah.
Which
Do you
is
know
insane.
that only the females are the ones that bite?
Wait, haven't they killed more people? This is I'm probably wrong about this, but I think I heard somebody say once that they've killed more people than people have died naturally.
I can't imagine that that's
I
accurate.
can't imagine that's accurate either.
They've killed more people than people have lived. I know that's
Oh,
true.
maybe that's what it is.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, what was the thing you were saying?
I don't know. What was I
You
saying?
said something about some sort of bite, like an angel bite of death or something.
The women are the only ones that bite. Female.
No way,
Yeah.
dude.
So all the mosquito death, it's not even half the mosquitoes.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, pretty nuts.
Now we've done our top 10 deadliest animals. Why don't you guys write in and let us know what you think the top 10 is? My guess is it's going to be strikingly similar to the
But maybe send us a list that isn't just encapsulating all snakes and all.
Yeah. Exactly.
Number 5 is mammals.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. That was such a lame. There were a couple of lame ones in there. Okay.
Yeah, still fascinating. And I think that's a good exercise. We should do more like top 10s.
Okay, top 10 movies.
No, I mean like once a week segment. Our top 10.
Ba-dum-bum-ba-ba-ba-dum. Yeah.
We'll do another one. No, that's a joke one. Sorry. I'm down a button because we don't have our normal SIM card.
Oh, wow. So, I don't know how this setup works that we use at all.
Yeah. So, it's fine.
Nice.
One of our sounds is saved on the SIM card, and so we can use it through that. But when we don't have that one, we're using a backup.
What does SIM card what does the SIM stand for?
Special Identification Monitoring Card.
Monitoring.
Yeah.
So it's like Big Brother.
Right.
Whoa.
That's why you have to always upload your SIM cards to the network.
Dude, did you know that there's like, I forget. Well, actually, no, I don't really want to talk about this. So never mind. I shouldn't even have brought that up.
So another thing that we were talking about is when we first started this podcast, we were...
Man, it seems like another lifetime ago.
It was so long.
Our life has changed dramatically. Once again, thank you all who listen.
Yeah.
And support us on the Patreon.
Dude, we were literally doing this in my spare room
Right.
when we started.
That's crazy.
Look how far we've come.
But also, let's just take a moment to realize like how well you were doing before you had a spare room.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, things were going good.
Pretty well. Well, things were going well. And then I got the spare room, and then they bottomed out for a while, so then we decided a podcast. And now we're where we're at now.
Yep.
But anyway, back in those days, we talked a lot about like cryptids and interesting,
Like
fantastic
Bitcoin and stuff?
things. Like what?
Bitcoin and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Where we got our cool cover art. And so I thought we could maybe revisit this
Yeah.
and have a little bit of story time and then just kind of chat about what we think.
I love this. Okay, because cryptids are maybe my favorite topic of all time
Okay.
to listen to people talk about. Like listen or whatever. I don't usually have a lot to add to these conversations, so I'm interested to hear what you have to say.
So you have heard, we used to both listen to Bigfoot shows.
Yeah.
How many encounters have you personally heard? Would you ballpark?
Oh, at least north of 100.
Okay. So a lot of people seeing this big monkey in the woods.
Yeah.
What is your, like, of those people, what percentage do you think are telling the truth and what percentage are...
I'd say like 1% at most.
So you think you've heard one person that has actually seen Bigfoot?
Yeah, but I actually couldn't even tell you who though. That's the problem. Like
Like which one? You
like
mean?
out of all those shows that I used to listen to, I'm not sure that I heard one that I thought was valid.
Do you think it's misidentification or lying?
Yeah, I think a lot of it's misidentification. I think a lot of it is people convincing themselves, basically having false memories.
Sure.
Like just, I did see this thing. I did, and even though they might have started out not thinking that they saw it, but they were just trying to get credit.
Right.
And then they eventually convinced themselves that, yeah, I did see that thing. But I don't know. So this is what I think. There are stories that I think are valid. Like, I think the Sierra Sounds
Yeah.
is a valid. I think there's something to that.
You do.
I do. I don't know why. It strikes me different.
It's so funny because like it's creepy.
Yeah.
And we can't plug in Sierra Sounds. We don't have proprietary rights to edit that.
It sounds like this.
Dude,
That was wow. You crushed.
Anyway,
that.
YouTube Sierra Sounds if you're interested.
Do it.
But it's basically this guy that goes in the woods. He has this like he and his friends have this fort camp or whatever in the middle of the Sierra Nevadas, and they're hunting Bigfoot, and then they find it's like all this ape chatter and stuff, but then it also sounds like they call it samurai chatter, and so there's a lot of that. But it seems
it's probably fake.
very repeatable.
Oh yeah.
And
Oh,
so
yeah.
I want to believe that it's real, like so much.
That's the problem with this stuff.
Yeah.
And
So I'm like so biased to it. But imagining this grown man in the woods
yeah, yeah, dude, that'd be so funny.
filming all this, like doing his own stuff. It's really funny.
But
Have you heard the Ohio Howl?
I think I have.
So it sounds like it's in the middle of Ohio, like in the middle of nowhere, and there's like this air raid siren that's going off, and in this mountain. So there's no one around. There's no towers or anyone that would be doing an air raid siren or whatever. But it sounds like this like bellowing Bigfoot, and a lot of people call into the show and say, "I heard that exact sound. Like this is what I heard. Like it was a lot louder. It was a lot closer, or whatever." The problem is, we were visiting my father-in-law in California, and he just has this portable air raid siren. So we drove to the middle of nowhere, and he just lets this thing off, and it sounds exactly the same.
Whoa.
So I'm wondering if there's a lot of that that's going on.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's definitely a lot of people trying to goof things up. I mean, yeah.
yeah. I go back and forth on if I believe it's true or don't believe it's true.
I do too. I think I used to be like into it.
Yeah, me too. So have you heard of the Ape Canyon incident?
Only from you telling me about it. I do not know what it is, and I am excited to learn.
All right, so it's July of 1924.
No, it's May of 24.
Okay, so almost exactly 100 years ago, there are these gold miners in, I think it's California. I could be wrong. That go up into the hills or whatever. They build this log cabin because they're going to be there a while, and it's just this group of like 4 or 5 gold miners. They start getting, and I haven't read this. I was trying to read it exactly to you, but I couldn't find a good story form of it to just straight up read it. So I'll just tell you what I remember of it. But they start tools start going missing in their camp and everything, and things get moved and different things, and they don't know what's going on. It can't be someone playing a prank because they're literally gold miners in the middle of nowhere in California 100 years ago. So it's not like neighborhood kids are going to be like pranking them or something. So finally, they start getting things like thrown at them while they're working and different things like that. And so finally, they see this large ape man who's like messing with them, and so they shoot him, and he like falls off this cliff.
Convenient.
Yeah. So he falls off the cliff, and they're like, that's that. Everything's taken care of. We're good to go. They go back into their cabin. From there, the cabin just starts getting attacked and bombarded for... Are you going to say something?
I just want to point out how interesting that would be. That just 100 years ago, if somebody shot a Bigfoot, the reaction is, okay, it fell off a cliff, we're good. Let's resume our working. Whereas, like, if I shot a Bigfoot now and it fell off a cliff, I'm doing everything I can to like go recover it
Yeah.
because that would be awesome.
Well, they didn't know what Bigfoot was. They just thought it was this wild man
Yeah,
thing.
right. So they either just shot a dude.
And you're also a gold prospector with a bunch of gold around you. It's pretty cutthroat.
Yeah. That's true. But an ape man, like you think you shot
Yeah,
an
dude.
ape man, and you're just good with it. You're just go. You're
There's more to the story, I'm sure. I don't remember it, but
yeah.
they might have gotten violent or whatever. This ape was on this cliff, and they see him at their cabin, and they shoot him. He falls off the cliff. So at night, they just start getting pounded. Things are just getting like big rocks and stuff getting thrown at the cabin. And then all of a sudden, they start beating on the cabin. And at one point, they had ripped a hole in the wall, and there's this ape arm reaching into the cabin and
Oh
everything.
yeah, I know this story.
You have heard of it?
Yeah, I love it.
And then so they have this whole night of just being attacked by these ape things. No one gets hurt, no one dies or anything, I don't think. And the next morning they all run in and tell the story. And so it's in the papers of like they called them like the mountain devils were attacking these gold prospectors and stuff.
It's so crazy.
So the guy that wrote the autobiography of it, he like wrote all of it down. He said whatever the 1920s equivalent of like extra dimensional factor was, he included that they were like not of this realm, not of this world. They were like phase in and out or whatever. And so a lot of people are like, that's ridiculous. And there's the one that I was reading was like a Science Weekly or something that was talking about it and was like, it's probably just neighborhood kids or whatever. But as I said, they're in the middle of nowhere. It's called now Ape Canyon because of this attack. So they call it the Ape Canyon attack. And there's no real evidence or no real, I don't know, solution or resolution or anything to it. It's just kind of one of those like, what do you think of that?
What do I think of that? I mean, I definitely think that I think there was a Sasquatch at some point here in the Americas for sure, because I think that, I mean, like the Native Americans talk about them like casually.
Yeah. It's almost like almost every Native American tribe has lore about
the
the
man
big
of
hairy
the woods. Yeah.
wild man. Some of them say he's like the guardian of the forest and he's like loving and peaceful and ever.
Right.
Others say, he'll come in and steal your women.
And what's interesting about that is, and I may have this wrong, but what comes to my mind is like with the Native American culture, there's a lot of like spirituality things that they do. I would say that they're sensitive to like the supernatural.
Yeah.
Like there's like something, I don't know, and maybe their sensitivity to the supernatural is why they were so aware of the Sasquatch, if Sasquatch is in fact a supernatural being. Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
It's interesting.
Yeah. Before modern science, how do you look at Aurora Borealis, the Northern Lights, and think that, like, what do you make of that?
Yeah.
I'm just thinking Native Americans and
Sure.
going back and stuff. Like,
Yeah.
magic is so tangible and so real. Now we're just like, no, it's just magnetic fields, bro.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
but that's like, dude, I always go back to Brother Bear. I love that movie. I don't know if you ever watched it or not, but
Never heard of
it's
that.
just these Eskimo Inuit tribe people.
I've never heard those words
Okay,
before.
well, anyway. So do you think if Bigfoot is real, that it is a animal? Do you think there's any way for there to be a great ape in America that we haven't discovered?
Currently,
Yeah.
yes. I think it's possible. I don't think it's likely anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was convinced a few years ago. I was hyped on it, dude. But I don't think it's likely, but it is possible. It's stinking possible. Right?
There's a lot of woods.
It's a lot of woods. It just seems tough. But there's a lot of space in like the north.
You know what I struggle with that though?
Mm-hmm.
So I always bring up the mountain gorilla wasn't discovered till like 1949.
Like the silverbacks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
there's lowland gorillas, and we know what gorillas are, but there were mountain gorillas that we didn't know.
like silverbacks.
Right. So bringing us back. But we can track a snow leopard, which is one of the most invasive
Right.
animals in the world, to the top of the Himalayas and get close-up photographs of that joker to the point where they're in zoos. And you're going to tell me there's this 8 to 9 foot tall up-walking ape in our woods with game cams everywhere, baiting,
And
trapping.
enough of them to have a breeding population.
Enough to have a breeding population. Enough that it's not like it's not just like, oh, why haven't we run into it or why haven't we caught the dead body or whatever, but like the fact that we can figure out food sources and the population of deer. If there was a giant ape living in the woods, the deer population to sustain that would be so much more limited than what it is. And like there's so much science and evidence and things that aren't just visual evidence, but like ripples and echoes of this giant animal breeding population in the nation,
Right.
that we would have better evidence. Like there's something killing and eating all these deer.
Yeah.
And so I don't know that I believe that there is a unidentified, because like you, for years I thought that
It's so much more fun to believe that
It's
there's
so
a
much-
sassy in the
exactly.
woods, dude. And also, yeah. So yeah, keep going with what you were saying. Sorry.
Okay, so then the other part of that is, well, then maybe it's something different. Maybe people are still seeing things. Because, like, up until the Industrial Revolution, and people started saying, no, everything, and they call it I guess it was the Enlightenment, not Industrial Revolution, but where we start the Age of Reason and everything can be discoverable. Like science can explain everything, and anything that science can't explain is not real. And so for millennia, we have had connection to the physical or the spiritual, to the point where we were saying on one podcast, the changelings, that the fairy world was so real to these people in Ireland that they were murdering their own babies. And so maybe there is something to that fairy lore and the spirit guardian and the sprites and the different things like that.
Sprites.
Yeah,
What's that?
it's like another fairy spirit thing.
Is that what the drink is?
Yeah.
No.
Well, sprites are like pixies, which are like what you're thinking, so like bubbly and everything. So yeah, I think that's.
What?
I think I just made that connection, but yeah, 100%.
That's wild.
Yeah. So anyway, maybe people are seeing this creature who is more spiritual than a physical creature that for some reason that's more believable for me, but I don't know why that's
It is. Yeah. That's where I fall on it. I think now is that if there is something happening like that, then it's something that is supernatural.
which is wild because we have in Genesis, and I'm not saying this is what it is, but the similarities are very interesting. That it says in Genesis 6 that when the daughters of man got with the sons of God, or when
The sons of God saw that the daughters of man were beautiful, and they came down and bred with them.
Thank you. Yeah. There's a lot of interesting. They saw and a lot of metaphors with that, and Eve seeing the apple, and so that's like a cool hyperlinks there and stuff. But so the sons of God, whatever they are, come down and breed with
Well, I think,
women.
I think
So the sons of God-
they're the fallen angels.
Yeah, the fallen angels. We have records of Neanderthals that grew in, and I don't know if you subscribe to this or not, but we have like bone records and everything of Neanderthals in like Great Britain area and France, Western Europe, that they're growing along with Homo sapiens that are growing in the Fertile Crescent, which is the Middle East, Mesopotamia area. What did I just say? The Neanderthals migrate down. We have records of them coming down and then start cohabitating with the humans. In fact, we can now have like, you might have Neanderthal blood in you. Like they can trace your genealogy and everything, or your blood and everything, to see that you have Neanderthal, whatever. Neanderthals would have been explained as being these giant humanoid creatures.
It's like what later we called the Vikings.
I don't even think so. I think they were so much more different than that.
Right.
Vikings are just big, strong.
They'd lost their hair by then.
I'm not saying that Neanderthals were covered in hair, but it's interesting the parallels of Neanderthals and the
Story of Genesis.
the
6.
story of Genesis 6, and that like maybe these Neanderthals were something more like the Nephilim that we talk about. They were the Nephilim that were born out of that were these giant beings that were the heroes of old and men of renown and like these superhumans. And we talk about David and Goliath. Goliath was a descendant of the Nephilim and stuff. And so it would make sense that if you have these giant Neanderthals coming down and breeding with regular Homo sapien humans, you would have these giant humans that come from that. And I'm not saying that the Bible's not true or anything like that, but if it's like, I don't know, like the Neanderthals were the Nephilim, like the sons of God with the daughters of Eve, and they grew this secondary race of humans that were other in a way and stuff. I don't know. It's just kind of
Right.
interesting.
Yeah.
And so somewhere along there,
I was hoping we eventually would get to a topic where you would start discussing how the Bible's not true. I love that.
perfect. I'm glad to. Somewhere in there, I think there's room for Bigfoot to fit some in that world.
Fair enough.
I've heard a lot of different theories on that, like with the Book of Enoch and stuff, where it's apparently in the Book of Why are you looking at me like that?
No, I'm listening.
So somewhere in the Book of Enoch, it talks about how like they were making all these chimeras and hybrids and stuff,
Right.
and so they talk about like genetic manipulation. Everything is they were breeding animals that ought not be bred or whatever. And so the theory is maybe that is what Bigfoot is.
Mhm.
And then you have like all these weird like Dogman is the werewolf and Anubis is the Greek or the Egyptian god that has the dog head and the human body. And then you have like a lot of the Egyptian gods honestly were like half hippo, half human, half
Yeah.
owl, human, different. These
Right.
chimeras and stuff are supposedly explained in the Book of Enoch as these angels that are just like messing with all these like crazy things that
Jacking around.
yeah they shouldn't be.
Yeah. That's really interesting. The Egyptian connection to the old like world is super fascinating.
Dude, I don't know enough about
Me
the
neither.
pyramids and the Sphinx and stuff, but apparently
I think that's the thing. I don't think anybody knows enough about them. Like experts on it will say that there's some sort of power plant, which is crazy, right? And like the king's chamber is like the reactor that would power the other. Have you heard any of this?
a little bit, but not enough that I would talk on it. So
And
I knew that you were.
that guy would be considered an expert, right? There was a guy. Well, I don't know. I can't even remember what podcast it was, but he's like super well learned in this topic, and he like that's what he thinks. He believes that, and I'm like, dude, what are you talking about, right? And then you got another guy who's saying like, oh, they're like 5,000 years old, and he would be considered an expert, right?
Right.
And then you got another guy who's like, well, it's actually like 11,000 years old. And it's like that guy's also an expert. so what are we talking about here? Like nobody really knows. And
I've heard that we know when the pyramids were built because they were, like you said, the king's.
when.
I don't know, but like Ramesses had his, or I don't know, what's the King Tut? They built this pyramid on top of King
Never
Tut.
heard of it.
Okay. But as far as the Sphinx goes, we don't know when the Sphinx was, when that came about, why that was built and stuff. And so like
So you've heard so you're saying that you heard people discuss like sand erosion and water erosion and the differences there and
I think
why
you sent me a video and I
okay.
watched it one time, but
Because and I think it's because of that information. Like Graham Hancock talks about this a lot. I don't know if you know who that is.
I've heard the name, but
Okay. Well, he talks. Actually, it might be Randall Carlson who specifically talks about the water erosion on the Sphinx and on the pyramids, and that's why there's such a vast variation in what quote unquote experts think
when they think it was
of
made.
when. Yeah.
So what do you mean? Oh, the water erosion as in like predating the flood or what?
No. Well, I don't know. That's interesting. The flood is an interesting
Character in the story.
Yeah, it's such an interesting character in the story of history of the world. I mean, because every religion talks about the flood,
Dude,
right?
every civilization talks about the flood. Yeah.
Right, and also I wanted to touch on when we were talking about the daughters of or the sons of God coming down.
Yeah.
The Anunnaki, I can't remember
The Watchers.
off of the top of my head what religion that is or who thinks that. Like the Anunnaki is
I
like
think it's
an
the
alien
Babylonians
race
or
that
something.
seeded life on the planet or something like that.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yes, like that's also like almost the same story
Yeah. But coming from
coming from the stars.
the Nephilim perspective.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like we're all talking about the same thing, just
It's just
different
very
lens. It's like
Yeah.
like something happened. Like it's like everybody talks about the flood. The flood. I don't know. It's interesting. Just I don't know. Everybody thinks that there was a flood, or not everybody, but a bunch of different people think that
It's
there was a flood.
accepted that there was a large flood.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just why I guess would vary from people group to people group or religious theory to religious theory. And I forget even what we were talking about. Pyramid age.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's just the difference in like wind carrying sand and wearing down the Sphinx or the pyramid versus water. Because in that valley, right, that Egypt's in or wherever that is, it used to be like a very green,
Yeah.
like, they had water there at one
It's very
point.
fertile and everything.
Yeah, fertile, yeah. So anyway, I don't know. It's interesting.
So, like, what's the premise that sand erodes it faster than water, or
I think,
or just they can't?
I think differently. I don't know. I don't know which one would be faster. I would imagine that sand is faster than water, but then again, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of like if you run sandpaper over something versus keeping a stream of water on.
Yeah,
Dude, I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. Anyway,
Man,
I forget
keep
even
coughing.
why we were talking about the stinking pyramid.
Dude, we just catch the magic carpet and we ride it.
Yeah, dude, riding the wave. No pun intended.
All right. Well, we're about at an hour, so
Are we seriously?
yeah, dude.
Dude, this might be the first time that we've done a 2-man pod that I felt like an hour got here really quickly.
Oh gosh,
Normally it's like, dude, we're dragging.
dude, this is brutal.
No way, this is an hour. Oh yeah, dude, we're like at an hour.
Yeah.
We just hit like a time warp.
It's just easy to, rather than like just coming up with things to talk about, we just get in a subject that we're already kind of talk about all the time, and we can just cruise.
You know what would be tight? Actually, Unsadis out there, if you think Egypt stuff is interesting and you wished that we knew more about what we were talking about and not just talking over our skis,
Sign up for the Patreon so that we can study this full time.
not that, but write us and let us know if you think we should try to get an Egypt expert on the pod.
They're called Egyptologists.
I've never heard that word before in my life.
I hear it literally a day, once a day. I don't know. Dude, I've been having
of time I've literally spent
I've
listening
been-
to that word.
really struggling today.
Yeah, I think it would be cool. I personally think it would be cool, but I wonder if it would be a drag for most people.
Yeah, but you got to get one that's like fringy.
Yeah, dude. Actually, I think the guy, I remember the pod now. The guy that I was thinking of is a dude who was on Flagrant, Andrew Schultz's podcast.
I don't know.
Dude, that's a wild episode. It'd be cool to get that guy.
Next week, we're going to talk about Loch Ness. Do they want the mystery to be solved?
I can solve it for you right now. This week, as you're living your life, doing your thing, just remember that we are also living our lives and doing our thing. And just like the kid I grew up with in my neighborhood, he is also living his life and doing his thing. Blessings to you all. Have a great week. And I wish you could see Steven looking at me while he's blowing on that harmonica. Peace.